Healthy, uniform stands of corn like these don't happen by accident. They're the result of a lot of careful management and planning. Planning that includes protecting your valuable seed from disease and insect damage while it's in the ground. And when we asked the growers who farmed these fields how they protected their seed during the critical stages of germination and emergence, the answer was unanimous.
We've used AGROX since 1982. We started no-tilling in the soybean ground that year, and we've used it ever since then with good results.
I'm a full-time user of AGROX. Feel it's real good, cheap insurance to use it.
Just a common practice. When we put in seed, we put in AGROX.
We've been using AGROX since 1982. We felt that our customers needed more protection for their seed than what we were presently giving them.
AGROX DL Plus is a low-cost, easy-to-apply planter box seed treatment that provides lasting protection against the destructive effects of the major seed-feeding insects, including wireworms, seed corn maggots, and seed corn beetles. These pests alone cause extensive damage each year in the 10 major corn-producing states. But with AGROX DL Plus added to your seed at planting, instead of skips and gaps like these, your corn seed will have the protection it needs for maximum emergence and maximum stands.
You'd see a skip, say, 4 to 5 feet long with no corn, and you'd go to dig it up, and all you'd find would be a hollowed out seed. And this is what I was told was basically a seed corn beetle or seed corn maggot problem, and I've been using AGROX ever since.
I do spread manure on my corn grounds, so I've used the AGROX to help protect against the seed corn maggot.
We've also had where there's no corn come up, dig down, and the wireworm had ate into the kernel itself. And that's the reason we started using the AGROX, and since then we've had zero damage with it on wireworms.
The DL in AGROX stands for two proven insecticides, diazinon and lindane, both recommended for control of major corn seed pests by university entomologists across the Corn Belt. And the plus stands for an extra dose of Captan fungicide, which gives you extra control against yield-robbing diseases such as damping off, seed decay, and seedling blight. Damage from these diseases is more widespread than growers believe, but often it goes unnoticed because stand destruction is localized or attributed to something else. But unfortunately, even a small amount of disease damage can take away profits from a grower's bottom line. Damping off, seed decay, and seedling blight are caused by a group of fungi, the most common of which are Fusarium and Pythium. Without realizing it, many growers create the perfect environment for soil-borne diseases and insects. Practices such as early planting, conservation tillage, manure spreading, and rotational planting, especially if ground has been in sod or in set-aside programs, produce cool, moist soil conditions these pests need to flourish. But as the growers we talk to point out, they can avoid disease and insect problems by treating their seed in the planter box with AGROX DL Plus.
We like planting, real early, and it's usually cool and wet, and we've had, since we're using AGROX, sometimes the seed will stay in the ground 30 to 35 days, until eventually it warms up enough, and the AGROX keeps the kernel there from decaying, and we just think it's a must if you're going to plant early because we just had excellent luck ever since we've used it on that end of it.
I'm really happy with my AGROX because when soils are cool and wet, I don't see the 4 to 5 foot skips that were very common before I started using this AGROX.
We do plant early, and by using AGROX, we think we've eliminated the seed dampening and any problem that we've had with it.
If you use a granular soil insecticide to protect your corn from insects that attack the roots, such as rootworms, at standard rates, it may not necessarily provide sufficient protection for your crop from soil-borne insects such as wireworms, seed corn maggots, and seed corn beetles, which attack and destroy your seed from the sides and below. But AGROX DL Plus coats the entire seed to protect it against seed-feeding insects and disease before and during germination.
The use of AGROX at less than $1 an acre and a 10 to 15% better stand, you can't hardly afford not to be using that in addition to your other soil insecticides.
Okay, the most crucial stage of corn production is a seedling stage to achieve that very uniform final stand. And if there's anything at all working on the seed, it's in such a, I don't want to use the word helpless, but it can be damaged so easily that you need all the edge you can get. And AGROX DL Plus is our edge in the seedling stage.
For convenience, AGROX DL Plus comes in this specially pre-measured package, which treats an entire 50-pound bag of corn seed. Just pour the AGROX over the seed in the hopper and stir with a wooden paddle or axe handle. AGROX is specially formulated to mix easily. With this formulation, AGROX coats each seed with lasting protection. Protection that won't rub off, cause bridging, block or clog planter mechanisms, nor interfere with electric eye monitoring systems. The graphite in AGROX DL Plus also helps lubricate your planter parts for smooth, easy-flowing operation, as this following demonstration shows.
As you can see, this is a standard John Deere MaxEmerge unit. For demonstration purposes, we've mounted it on this frame, and we've powered it with a small motor through this chain drive. We've also cut a couple of holes in it. One up here at the base of the seed hopper. There's one here at the top of the feed tube, and there's another cutout down here to represent the placement of the seed in the soil. Other than the power drive system and the inspection holes, this planter is exactly the same as any other John Deere MaxEmerge. Our hopper's full of seed corn,
and the AGROX DL Plus goes right on top. A good stir with a paddle or axe handle, and you're ready to go.
Now, let's start it up and see what happens. Up here in the seed hopper, the AGROX powder is flowing down through the corn to the seed metering mechanism. AGROX is scientifically formulated to flow, and that's exactly what it does.
It slips easily over all plastic and metal parts in the planter and travels downward to the pickup as it thoroughly coats each kernel. No seed can escape the protection of AGROX DL Plus.
AGROX clings to the seed and stays with it all the way down the seed tube and into the soil. There's no missing a seed that's been treated with AGROX. Compare the purple color of this seed I've just taken from the planter with the color of a seed right out of the seed corn bag. You can see the difference in color right there.
I like the graphite in it. It lubricates the planter real good. It's easy to mix, no problem there. And it covers the seed real good, sticks to the seed nice, and works good, the AGROX.
Thing I like about AGROX, it lubricates my planter, it makes the seed more flowable, it extends the life of the planter and cuts down on downtime because of decreased wear.
Because AGROX DL Plus goes on the seed instead of in the soil, a little goes a long way in helping you to produce healthy, uniform stands.
Okay, I'm standing in the middle of 8 rows of corn. It's the same variety. All the treatments are the same, except that the rows to my right are treated with AGROX DL Plus, and the rows to my left are not. I feel I can see a little more uniformity and a little more height in the rows that are treated with AGROX DL Plus. I don't know if it's going to translate into a yield difference, but it sure looks better at this state.
One of the most important benefits of using AGROX DL Plus is its low cost. For about 75 cents, you can treat an entire acre of seed corn with its dependable, all-around protection. In this study carried out by the University of Wisconsin, unprotected corn seed produced populations of 22,136 plants per acre, while seed that had been treated for protection against wireworm, corn seed maggots, and seedling diseases produced a stand of 23,928 plants per acre. And in this University of Georgia study, a planter box seed treatment of AGROX DL Plus increased yields by 8.54 bushels per acre over untreated seed. And at $3 a bushel, that increase represents a 34-to-1 return on just the treatment cost alone.
I shoot for approximately 26,000 plants per acre, and I feel that with the AGROX, I'm getting a good economical stand.
The most critical stage of the corn plant is at planting and until it emerges, and 2 to 3 weeks after that is to maintain the stand there, because if the stand's not there at the end of the season, you have that loss, that potential loss of 10 to 15%.
I think the seed corn treatment with AGROX is very important because everyone knows to get a crop, you've got to have a stand, and I get a good stand with AGROX because I just feel like the seed corn maggots and wireworm are held back, and which leads to a better bottom line for me.
When it comes to increasing your yield potential this season and every season, start your crop off right with a low-cost planter box seed treatment of AGROX DL Plus. For control of wireworms, seed corn maggots, and seed corn beetles, plus extra protection against seed and seedling diseases, AGROX DL Plus is the one that growers and seed dealers across the Corn Belt recommend. AGROX DL Plus. No other corn input can give you so much for so little.